Hi folks, mă cheamă Amanda L. Andrei și eu sunt un dramaturg. Ako si Amanda at Mandudula ako. My name is Amanda L. Andrei and I am a playwright. I want to tell you a little bit about myself before I get started and sharing some of my work in the salon. My mom is from the Philippines and my dad is from Romania. They met in Romania in the 1970s and then came over to Washington, D.C. in the 80s. So I was born in D.C. I grew up in Northern Virginia, which is Manahoac territory, and I currently live in Sunland, which is around the edge of Los Angeles County, still in LA, and it's the land of the Tongva people. And I just want to show you where I live before I, do any of my work, because I believe our sense of place is so important to who we are. And I know that I'm also a guest on this land and that I'm separated from my own native and ancestral lands. So this is Sunland, part of Sunland. This is a park that I'm fortunate enough to have outside of my house. And I love this native plant here. This is the yucca whipplay, chaparral yucca. It's also known as Our Lord's candle, and it is used by natives for food and also for shelter, for making fibers and everything like that, for a variety of tools and everything. And another thing I wanted to talk about was, in addition to showing you these plants, but is also talking about land acknowledgements. Some folks might have seen Americans doing land acknowledgements, and this is making statements about the indigenous communities who lived in these territories before they were stolen, displaced, or colonized into what is now known as the United States. And wherever you stand on this, I want to say that there is power and healing in recognizing and remembering the people who came before us and also the spirits of these places. I'd like to show you another native plant here. This is California buckwheat. It's all crispy now. And this is just another amazing plant that was, I think, the Tongva people called willakal, and they used it for intestinal problems. It's also used for bladder problems, your gut issues, for even you could bathe a newborn baby in it. So that's one thing that I've taken away from living out here and living in these spaces. It's just that there is medicine all around us. There is shelter, there is food, there is healing all around us. And so I really honor that. And I also want to share with you this quote from Mary Lyons of the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe. So Mary says, "When we talk about land, land is part of who we are. It's a mixture of our blood, our past, our current, and our future. We carry our ancestors in us, and they're around us, as you all do." So I am going to now keep going. We're going to go to one of my favorite parts in the park here. Thank you for joining. So I think a lot about the lands, that I came from as well. My parents' homelands, Romania and the Philippines, I think about volcanoes and caves, plains and mountains, snow, humidity, spring, summer, fall, winter, dry season, and monsoon season. And so I feel like I'm very much in the flow of remembering where I came from and honoring where I am now. And again, I'm humbled to be a guest on this land, and I seek its liberation and healing. And so this is one of my favorite spots, because amidst all this desert, there's just this beautiful stream where you can hear the water. Thank you for joining me here. So this is a poem that I wrote about my parents. It is a love poem. It's called Escape. going to get out of here, my love. Yama un brate. Hold me so when my heart stops, when the informers accuse, icicle fingers in this ghetto prying open my mouth to look for anything they can use against us, inspecting for tattoos on my teeth and blue-red love letters on my tongue. As you wrap me in carpets, I slide you into envelopes. You smuggle me across valleys and I parcel your blood past hills. Rejoin my limbs in meadows, and I'll kiss your eyes in the city. They don't want us dead. They want us worse, caught, trapped in between and unable to die. But some grace descends, some mercy is our roof, because we are leaping, we are flying, we are 5,000 miles away from hell, par avion, and what waits for us, my love? A meadow, a city. 7 corners to make our home of joy. So now I would like to invite you to do this meditation, and you can sit back and enjoy it, or if you want, I would encourage you to grab a journal or something to write with, write on, and if this inspires you to make something creative afterwards, that is amazing. So let's start by closing our eyes and just taking a deep breath and let it go. Okay. I want you to think about the land that you came from. Feel your feet on the ground. Is it soft? Is it warm? What else is around you? Are there trees or flowers? Oh, maybe there's an animal nearby. What do you hear? What do you smell? And what time of day is it? Is it morning? Is it afternoon? Is it night? Maybe the moon is out? What is something you want to give to the land? What is something you want to give to the land? Imagine placing your hands on the land and giving this something to it. Where do you feel it in your body? Where do you feel that act of giving? And now imagine that the land is giving something back to you. What does it give you? How does that feel? What does the land say to you? Live in this moment a little longer, and then thank the land. Thank what is around you, what you see and hear and smell. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. If you want, you can pause this video, start journaling, or you can just sit back and relax. Thank you so much for joining me in this virtual series of Romanian women's voices in North America. Many, many thanks to the Romanian Cultural Institute of New York and Bucharest inside the Beltway. You can find more of my work on my website and my Instagram. Just look for Amanda L. Andrei. Vă mulțumesc at salamat po sa inyo. An ingat și la revedere. Until next time, thank you. And look, as I was walking home, I found some California buckwheat that still has flowers. Oh, it's so beautiful.
My name is Andreea Scridon. I am a Romanian-American writer. I immigrated with my parents to the United States when I was a little girl, but spent every summer vacation visiting my grandparents in Romania, specifically Transylvania, and the collection that I will be reading from today, a Romanian poem, is the result of those visits and my connection to Romania, as well as music on the psychological processes of growing up and growing old. Confessions of a Drama Maniac. In a McDonald's, you turn your gaze away. You let it air out the window. Beyond, a man wearing a big black hat jerks his lady's chin with tenderness. Your friend, sitting next to you, quantifies the probability of immigration, 8 or 9 out of 10. He wants to be someplace where he won't see so many weird, sick, plain, bad people. Yet as much mud as your sneaker soles may gather, you circle the same sceneries. The peasant tying her kerchief under her rumpled neck, the red donkey in the form of a balloon on a string, the long noose of the stairwell, that leveled holy cave smelling of spice and firstling, the birds that graze over the lake can pirouette across the clouds, and yes, the heart combusts as rain emanates from the asphalt. Carapaces. How grainy the present has grown, how slow your cane sounds up the stairs, how depressing it is to see you fall asleep in front of the TV. How useless the things that brought you pleasure have become. Chocolate, walks, and from your loves, only the carapaces have remained. At the screen's alabaster light, from their strips you have knotted, with shaking hands, seraphim. Terra. If you are the son of heaven, why won't you ask the angels to bring you down? The Christmas globes have shattered. The shimmering ring has grown weak. Its lights have blinked out. The snail, like the head of evil, has been crushed under a boot. The magic is gone. Even in the known house of death, the heart's bludgeon surprises when you see the empty chair on the terrace, the last chair on earth. The old lady in the attic. A small woman, serene, a woman with a subtle smile. When she turned the light on, her celestial head with its white hair illuminated like a light bulb. Sometimes she would wave towards my window, and I, who looked like Peter Pan, would wave back to her. That was 5 years, maybe 10, and suddenly no more. Under the apple tree. 1,000 times I toured your Roman gardens, enough to become this planet's youngest expert in roses. Knock-kneed, acorn-coiffed, I pirouetted the apple tree's trunk in witchcraft, in ritual. I marred my palms and the futures in them, still unformed, by the rounded fervor with which I swung from its low, big-boned branches. I fancied myself a chess piece on the marble of your terrace. I even watched for the swanky spider in the rosette of your bathroom window. And if I scraped myself invariably in the sadness of your gutters, then, my broken angels, aren't I yours, if even your water runs with my blood? Nicotiana Alata. To hear my own echo across 2 streets is a surprise. It has been a long time since I have been the master of any reverberations, silent spaces I thought I had left behind in the jungles of America, before I said adieu, be good, to fructiferous trees, mango, banana tree, frangipani. Mid-August, and I've the impression that only once a year does it smell of jasmine tobacco, though across the street, the pearlescent moonflower, neon sign of our neighborhood wash house, is perpetually rising in flux like the cosmic sickle she is, though navy day and the dormition of the Mother of God might affect these hours. It's true that I'm not such a conquistador here, but the little experience I have has already taught me that my place is now among the spectre lanterns, delicate lullaby dragonfly eyes aglow, refulgent by the shadow of gas lamp bulbs. Short poem. I don't understand that shadow of sadness in her eyes. Somewhere between slums and redemption. When, I wonder, will all the leaves on earth sway in unison? And when they will that be the end of the world? When will my back break from endless guilts, like that poor hamster dead at Christmas? Like that, sad quiet will hold the house. Like that, everyone wonders, do I know love? One thing I can say, I know the feel of fruit crushed in the grass. And now I will also read some poems about America. Claire de Lune. In September, October, November, moody skies are as graceful as they would be on Mars. If we were on Mars, we'd watch comets falter across the Nile green sky from our lawn chairs, in silence, lonesome with the elegance and detachment of those who are hatched from eggs, the kind of people, if the word fits, who have never eaten tomatoes or seen doves, whose white sneakers remain eternally immaculate, who feel neither wonder nor solitude at their never-ending sorrow, placidly happy to observe the eerie beauty of faraway starlings, without seeking to read themselves among them. "22. Kites hovered over San Juan, the sweet scorch of the tropic, over the ridge of the castle, the abdomen of the earth, back when you were painted Giotto, a claimant of the fountain of youth and the murderess of windmills. It is your 22nd birthday. Your parents love you. You are wonderful, says your card. You have made them proud. Rather, despite logic, the card does not say. Florida is a healthy place for children to grow up, said your mother as she made a locomotive curve around the highway. Your blood thins to water. You shiver for the rest of your life. The past torment you. It ruins your life, but its colors are pretty. Still, the hour is young. You are still the bird that doesn't exist. Wings waxy as citrus husks. One day you will use your last fingers to write a poem, but for now, your palms still smell of swimming pools. Coming home from the airport. Wispy March at the airport, the shuttle train a laggard wilkworm, painted the cream and turquoise stripes of a guest bathroom, the late noon clouds, blushing Kilimanjaro, the welcome home sign, the water tower high and mighty, the balmy greenhouse perfumes of the stratosphere, of the canopy, the almost electronic steadiness of the cicadas chirping in quartet with the changeful rains of the early morning, the tremulous breathing, incessant, suddenly cessant, of early morning joggers, the spread of the roads they traverse, empty for all their vastness. I also test the silken papier-mâché of the delicate skin lining my eyes. I too run my hand to the back of my head to check that I am still made of porcelain, assure myself that the moths have not made their nest in my crowning glory, in the time that I have laid in this drawer, waiting for another generation to play with me. Thank you for listening.